Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Lewa Show. So wonderful to have you here with me today and our guests. We are coming to you today from the atrium of the Port Moresby International Convention Centre, and this venue is absolutely gorgeous. And so are my guests. How are you?
Good, Lewa.
Yes, you're okay? You both okay?
Thank you, yes.
I'll get you to introduce yourselves.
Thank you. I'm Uma. My first name is Uma and second name is Ambi. Uma Ambi, a psychiatrist. Yes, that's it.
Psychiatrist, and you're also the director of
the Directorate of Social Change and Mental Health. That is a statutory body. It's basically the mental health has got a major reform in mental health, and now we have moved in as a department in its own to expand the mental health services. Yes.
Fantastic. Such a pleasure to have you here with me today.
Thank you.
And over here, Miss Helen Ipauki.
Yes, Helen Ipauki, that is my name. Also, I'm Miss PNG Air Services. And as you'll know, my advocacy for this year's pageant was mental health. I'm finally a medical student. I'm finishing off my last weeks in medicine.
Almost a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Almost exciting.
Oh, yeah. Good luck.
Thank you.
Have you been sleeping?
Yeah, you know, when I have the time to sleep, I try.
In other words, no. The answer is no.
I think it's a hard journey. It's doing medicine is not easy.
No.
You need all the energy, and also it's a long, rocky road. It's end of the day, we are dealing with human beings.
Exactly.
So it's, I must wish you beautiful, best wishes.
Thank you. I really
Exams,
need that.
yes.
Oh, thank you. There's so much love today. I'm feeling all the love.
That's mental health.
Yes, exactly. So our topic today is mental health. I asked you both to come today on the show to discuss this issue because I feel like we don't really talk about it, and here in our country especially, maybe we don't give it enough attention.
Yeah.
Is that all right if I can say that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not only here, and I think it's throughout the world there is an issue. When we talk about mental health, we always talk about, it's always attached, a price tag attached to it. It's like stigma and discrimination. We think,
Like a stigma?
Yeah, because when you talk about mental health, people think of mental illness, major mental illnesses, so that it takes away the more important thing, what is mental health?
Well, that was my next question.
Oh, really?
What is mental health?
Well, I think for the sake of the viewers, let me tell you, mental health is all about how you feel about yourself and how you feel about another person and how you can cope with the day-to-day life. So if you feel good about yourself and you feel good about another person, and then you cope with the day-to-day life, then you have good mental health. But if you don't feel good about yourself and you don't feel good about another person, and you find him hard to cope with the day-to-day life, then you have got a mental health issue. That doesn't mean you have major mental illness, but you have got a mental health issue. You might need help. Because if you don't get help, it can have a negative impact on you and your family and your society. End of the day, our nation, yes.
Exactly. So Helen, having defined mental health now, why did you pick that as an advocacy message for contesting this year as Miss PNG Air Services?
Yeah, thank you. So I think most of what you said about it not being properly or well addressed by the people in general. Growing up, I had an auntie who is mentally ill, and we were sort of forced to just live distant to her and avoid getting in contact with her and asking her why exactly she did the things she did. And it wasn't her fault or our fault. We just didn't have that awareness to understand it. And so I thought in taking part in this contest, it would have been it is a great platform to advocate in something that hasn't been advocated for a long time. And using this platform in my capacity as a future doctor, I thought that talking about mental health was definitely something that would be close to my heart because of the reasons that I just mentioned, and also for the sake of it being out there.
Yes, to
More
put it and
awareness,
talk about it.
Talk about it.
Did you plan on this career path? Is that something you planned?
I know. I mean, if you ask, every doctor has got his or her own story. Well, I really wanted to become a neurosurgeon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So my whole career shifted, and I was wondering, what am I doing better in? I think it's the love and caring and what you can get out of the end result as a doctor from a patient. I think I started spending more time with the patient rather than when I felt as a surgeon, it's like a more mechanical, or you're doing something. But I think I had that little extra thing which I really wanted the person to feel good, and when the person go out, I feel good about that whole thing. I think that shifted, and let me tell you, I thank God I became a psychiatrist, because you don't have to open the cranium, the skull or anything. Right. You can do that being a psychiatrist. So I thought
in a different way.
In different
You
way.
can do more than that.
More than that,
That's true.
So that's a surgery. It's a psychosurgery, isn't it?
Isn't it? It is. So you just found passion for it. And
yes, I think it came natural in me. And then I think that's what it pushed me to become a psychiatrist. And then I said, wow, okay, all right, there's nobody else in the country. Being a Papua New Guinea citizen, and I thought, okay, I should do this and I should die. And when I'm in a box, everybody said, oh, she did it. And also, not only doing it, I was able to train most of the psychiatrists, and one for Solomon Island and one for East Timor too. So it's a pleasure, and I think I'm content with helping more than myself to produce more psychiatrists, yes.
Well, you made a good career choice there, because we
Yes.
do need that.
I feel content a bit,
Yes, and then you have people like young
Helen
Helen here,
yes.
who can help with this message. So I'm really excited to talk more on this
I
topic.
was very excited, because when I heard Helen is doing it, I said, oh my God, Helen. So I really would love to, really wanted to meet her, and I'm so excited. Thanks, Lewa. Thank you.
We've got a
for
lot
that.
more to talk about.
Yes.
So we're going to take a quick break so you ladies can have some water and we can check on our coffee. You're watching,
coffee?
yes, it is coming.
Promised coffee.
You're watching The Lewa Show. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back to The Lewa Show. We're coming to you from the atrium of the Port Moresby International Convention Centre, and we've got here Dr. Ambi and future Dr. Helen Ipauki, who is also Miss PNG Air Services 2019. Now, we just defined mental health and why we think it's so important to talk about it. Now, the next question I wanted to ask, or maybe discuss, is on depression. The topic of depression, we talk about it all the time. Like, I'll be talking to friends and they'll say, oh, I'm so depressed. The term is used loosely, and maybe sometimes it's used in a context where that person is actually depressed, and we might not know or have the tools to actually believe that person is depressed before it goes too far. So what is depression? How you hear them say clinically depressed and all of that. I think I'm going too far, but maybe you just stop me wherever you feel.
I think Lewa and Helen, and I'm sure the viewers, I think it's every time something happen in our life, we always say, oh, I'm so sad, I'm out of the whole thing, I'm moody or upset. So there is a difference between the clinical depression and so-called depressed mood, you see. So when things happen in life, viewers, that I think is important, it could be something genetic, like if you ask depression, there is genetically it can be in the genes that depression is.
So that does pass down, does it?
Of course, it's especially the one which develops and need treatment and managements, proper mental health care, do have association with the genetic. Then you have a personality, how you look at things. You see, we look at things, like something happen in your life. If you look at it all positively, then you don't really have an impact. So personalities, like if you have an introvert, you suffer yourself and things like that. Or extrovert, you get so upset something happened in your life, and then so that personality matters. And then the psychosocial issues, like that's where it comes in, like a different age group. Like if you have a person who is like pregnant, and then you have a baby is born, then where there is chemicals and the hormones have changed because body changes, that has an effect of the onset of depression.
That's
so
postpartum.
That's correct, like postpartum depression. Okay, so apart from that, like adolescents do go through so much of pressure, social issues and environmental issues, family issues and physical issues and so many things. So you will see psychosocial issues such as like marital breakdown, loss of job, natural disasters or man-made disasters and financial difficulties, you name it, everything you go around, please, everything is making me so depressed, such a time like this, how can I make? So you will see psychosocial, and then finally physical illnesses, like if you have cancer or HIV or kind of sicknesses also can create. And finally drug and alcohol, like alcohol does create depression, or you can see that any drugs also can be influencing. So you can have depression and you can drink a lot of alcohol, or you drink a lot of alcohol and then you can become depressed, you see. So these are causes. So when it comes to the onset of depression, you will see the low mood. And I'm sure, I don't want to take this whole show right now, but I wanted to say that feeling something happen, you lose your boyfriend, or marital breakdown, or financial, or bereavement, like you were talking about the, bereavement means loss of loved ones. You will feel sad, but if you feel sad for 2 weeks, it's fine. But anything beyond 2 weeks, and if there are 4 or 5 symptoms are there, then there is a clinical sort of depression, which need help, need to see a doctor, need to.
That's what I was trying to ask, like where do you differentiate between someone who's just sad and then someone who's actually depressed? Like how do we identify that?
I'm sure Helen can think of something. You have...
and I think most of what you mentioned about it being multifactorial, because we had 4 weeks attachment with psychiatry, and before that all I thought about psychiatry and mental illness was just those that are admitted because of any mental illness. But then it encompasses like a whole lot of things, and just talking about depression and all the other mental illnesses, you have to identify all these issues. So people who are actually sad and suffer from depression, I think it's 2 different things than what you mentioned. We have to take into consideration all of the things that they are going through or might have gone through to determine it. And then I like what you said about personality. It depends on how people react to situations. So I think knowing about different people and how they are, how they react to situations, it can really tell us a lot about who needs our help when they're actually depressed.
And I think with Helen saying this, and I wanted to also tell the viewers, one of the leading cause of disability, when you talk about disability, I'm not talking about hands or legs or physical, but in the productivity. The mental health and the workplace now, depression is one of the leading cause of disability. Let me tell you, you people who are listening to us today must know that you can work in any environment. You may want to understand that by 2020, most of us are going to go through mental health issues, that is specifically depression.
Wow.
So it's a reactive depression. I'm sure later on we will talk about
go into
the
more
different
detail.
bit more into that. Yeah.
As an intro to the next topic in this huge, humongous topic, do people come out of depression? People watching could be going through something.
Yeah.
There is hope at the end of the tunnel.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely, depression, I'm sure Helen will agree with me, depression is treatable and depression is manageable. Okay? So those who are listening, don't get worried or anxious. Depression is definitely treatable and manageable. And once you get out of that, the darkest moment of your life, you will appreciate that how important for for every one of us to pull us out, because whatever happened in our life, at one stage of our life, we will feel depression at one stage of our life.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think everyone goes through depression, and that's why it's such an important topic. So I commend you both once again for your work in it. We will take a short break and we will be back to talk more about depression. You're watching The Lewa Show. I'm your host, Lewa. Hello, you're watching The Lewa Show, and today we're discussing the topic of depression. We just talked about what is depression and do people actually come out of it. So there is definitely hope, and I think we all feel this feeling at least once in our lives, and so it's nothing to be ashamed of. What are the actual signs and symptoms then of depression? Did you want to?
Yeah.
We'll catch you.
Yes, okay. It's not a test.
All right. So from what I've learned, the signs and symptoms are just someone who just feels sad all the time, every day. Some people tend to eat a lot when they're sad, wake up in the middle of the night just out of nowhere feeling sad again. People take long walks, I believe, and they just lose that sense of drive to do whatever it is that they're involved in or what they're doing. And I think most people have this expressionless face. I'm not really sure if I'm going in the right direction, but yeah.
No, I think she's right. So the feeling sad, feeling hopeless, worthless feeling. And also there will be, most of the time they're tearful. Like when you were doing that little psychiatry block, I'm sure you would have seen some people very sad, sitting, thinking a lot, okay? So, end of the day, it does affect. Feeling sad, the low mood is one of them. And then, like you said, eating too much or not eating is another one. And then sleeping too long or not able to go to sleep, that insomnia, we call it. Or early morning awakening. That means like early morning, like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, they'll get up and they can't go to sleep after that, okay? And then hopeless, worthless feeling. And you can also...
Eventually they suicidal ideation.
Yeah, you can have feel like harming yourself, and loss of interest on what you have activity, like in the past, like what you enjoyed, and you are no more enjoying anymore, like you're really not interested anything around you. And the other important thing is feeling guilty for no apparent reason. Like, like the old things, what has happened in your life, and suddenly it overpowers your mind, and then you feel so guilty, and then you go bury your thoughts further and further into it, and you don't have much interest in day-to-day activities. You may not have interest in sexual interest, and so these are some of the, and specifically we forgot something, I think
you become
like
very
non-specific,
distant.
Distant, and also non-specific pains, like especially like...
You mean like you feel sick?
No, because we feel shame to say that we are depressed.
So we just present with like general symptoms.
Yeah, end up going to the hospital.
Okay.
I'm having aches and pains and, non-specific,
non-specific
that's
symptoms.
very much for Asians, Africans, and us in Papua.
So they're feeling embarrassed about it, so
Yeah, so
they
you don't
go to
talk
the
about
doctor and then
suffer silently.
say that they're having pains. For
instead
example.
of saying I am depressed, I'm having these
sad thoughts or something.
thoughts, they end up having aches and pains, and those are the, like non-specific headache, tummy ache, and things like that.
Very vague symptoms.
Vague
We can't really
symptoms.
pinpoint what exactly is wrong.
And then
Maybe,
go to the doctors and you can't find anything.
So on further inquiry, like if we do incorporate like
Yeah.
psychiatry into our emergency
Yes.
situations, then maybe we can find out that
Yeah.
if we go on to inquire about the symptoms, we find out that there's actually a focus, like they're
Yeah.
actually depressed.
Depressed.
And then we can properly refer them to
Like one interesting thing I really wanted to say, there was a lady who always had a breast pain. Okay, and then she went through all the surgery, biopsy and everything, and finally ended up with us to find out, and I put her on an antidepressant, and then the whole pain left. But the surgeons spent so much of time looking for cancer and all this time. But finally, you know what? Because she was the first wife of a guy. And when there was a polygamy involved, it referred the pain to a sexual organ, like, you know,
Yes.
referral thing. So she was, mostly people suffer silently. And then they refer these signs and symptoms to anything and everything.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So those are the signs and symptoms, or at least
If you have
most of them
for
anyway.
2 weeks, Lewa, I'm sorry, like if you have for 2 weeks, and then at least 4 of the symptoms I said, then you need to seek help.
or at least if you see someone experiencing that, then you know that you should get help
For them.
if they don't want to.
Does depression affect all ages? Is there like a spectrum?
And I think, Helen, did you find during your stay?
Yeah, I think what I noted was that we had different age groups presenting with depression, and then eventually what they presented with was suicidal attempt. So it does affect everyone, I believe. That depression
All
affects
ages.
All ages, all ages. Like if you look at like Helen, you said you mostly you would have seen anybody above specialist child and adolescents as well as adults. I'm sure that's what you would have seen. But if you really look at it carefully, it does affect mostly women. Okay, mostly women. Men mostly they don't talk about it, but then the women do say something out. Even though suffering, they say it out. But the other thing is, you will see children when there is an issue within the family. What do they do is they don't talk about it, they come out with different presentations. The children won't come and say that I am depressed.
Or
so
I am
they're
sad.
sad, you know.
They do other things to get
Other
our
thing,
attention.
Yeah,
rebellious.
like it's called conduct disorder, emotional disorder, you know, different way of presentation to the child. And like even a little child can be depressed, and then it can end up with, you know, peeing in the night, you know, like
the bed, yes.
those kind of soiling and so on.
What did you say it was called?
Like enuresis and encopresis, like it's like you peck, you know,
Yes,
without your control,
Yes.
or
Okay.
piss, you know,
For
you
children.
urinate in the night, bedwetting. Sometimes you call it as a bedwetting, and the child is grown up and she's still wetting in the night, so not getting up to go to toilet. So those are some of the children, and adolescent is another group of people, you know, because there is a hormonal changes are happening, physically they are changing, so they also standing there in front of them and looking
What's
at
going on?
am I, you know, my mustache is coming good, or where is it? I'm handsome.
It is
And
a
the
lot of
girls,
pressure,
of
isn't
course,
it? If
it's
you
like,
don't really understand what's going on. When I think of the changes we went through.
Facebook,
Yes.
or in the technology is changing. You can see how we take selfie and adjust to the whole thing to get the look at the best look in the town. But then somebody else said, "Oh, you look so and so yucky" or something, and it has
That's
another
nasty.
effect. Yeah, you know, effects are coming on. Do you know there are suicide has happened with the nasty comments and you know the negative side of you know, the latest technological changes. So there are the child and adolescent is another group, how you say. Then the mid-age where you're settling down, where you need money, you're getting married, how am I going to go on, is a pressure, is a stress point.
It's a different kind of
Time.
stress.
And then comes when you're retiring. Oh, are we going to die now? I'm retiring, and what's happening? You know, so the different age group. But I will say that a child and adolescent and mid-age, that it's a very stressful events. And women show more.
Women are more prone.
Women are
yeah.
more prone to depression. We will be back shortly to talk about what you can do if you are feeling this way, or if you do know someone that is feeling these signs and symptoms, or you've seen it, where can they go to get the help, and what you can do if it's you or if you know someone that needs the help. We are coming to you from the atrium of the International Convention Centre in Port Moresby, and you are watching The Lewa Show. Hello, you're watching The Lewa Show, and we are now going to discuss management of depression. We've talked about it, but what can people do?
Well, am I going to say
Yes,
it now?
please, or whoever's willing.
Yeah, no, you say.
We need answers, right?
Yeah.
We've just talked about it in depth, but
We made everybody shaky now.
yes,
And
it's
our
real.
viewers, it's just relax. It's easy.
Okay.
One is
That's a relief to know.
is at peace.
Yeah, I'm
is
at
it?
peace now.
Yes, and I think viewers should know that there are 4 ways of managing any mental health issues.
Holistic.
Holistic approach, basically. And the first one is when we actually assess the patients, we want to know is the person having mild depression or moderate depression or severe depression. Okay, we need to know. Mild depression is like counseling and things can help to identify what has gone wrong, what's the problem, especially problem solving. You can come out of it, okay? Because when you talk about depression, it's all about endorphin, the adrenaline, and like there are certain serotonin and noradrenaline. These are some of the chemicals depletes as a lot of stress happening in your day-to-day life. So you're trying to bring those serotonin back, okay? So we use medications, that is antidepressants. That's number 1. Number 2, psychological management. That means talking sessions and cognitive behavioral, like you assess and get them, talk to them, where they're going wrong and redirect their way of thinking and everything. Number 3 is basically, it's like wherever the disabilities are, then you are able to readjust and give them a pathway to get back into the system. So basically, there is a medication, and also psychological management is very important in terms of getting those chemicals back in track.
Like talking about it.
Yeah.
That's all part of the...
that's
okay.
psychological
Yeah,
management.
biopsychosocial management.
Yes,
Something we learned.
Yeah. So that's how you actually manage. Many people think if you take antidepressant, are you going to be dependent on it? Like,
that's right.
Did you
Or
find
does it
that
make you,
way?
does it
People,
suppress it even more?
there were some people who were refusing to take that because they thought they were
Oh.
going to become dependent,
Yeah,
and then they
that's
have to
right.
take it for the rest of their lives.
That's what happens, Lewa. When you're going to write the antidepressant, they said, "Are you sure we are not going to do it? I don't want medicine. I don't." But let me tell you, this medicine, antidepressant, doesn't cause any kind of addiction. It doesn't. You don't become dependent.
Is that for life, or is that for a period of time?
It's for a period of time.
Okay.
You bounce back to the place, and then you find out how you can cope after that. You see, so it's not a medication which you get like addicted or hooked on. That I have to assure them. Yeah.
Okay. So where can people go in Papua New Guinea if they need this help?
Okay.
What should they do? Where can they go to access this kind of help?
I think the newly formed established directorate is planning, and we are working on it to bring mental health to the community. Where right now you have to go to a GP, you have to go to a general doctors. That's basically to exclude any physical illnesses before they are referred to us.
Right. What Helen was saying
Yeah,
before
talking
about the
about-
proper referral path.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so that's one. But now we are also planning to take it to anybody who we don't want to go, at least come straight.
Yeah,
and
I was
talk.
going to ask, like, can we
Yeah.
just go directly? Because What I know is that people
bypass.
have to go to the emergency and then it's a whole process. So
Yeah.
can we
Like
just go straight to
Yeah, like emergency,
psychiatry?
emergency, you go for admissions. You know, the serious mental illnesses, you go to emergency so that we get rid of anything physically, something not right, which can cause death. So that's the very reason.
Just to rule out any
Rule
other
out there. But depression, if you want to get help, now, right now we are giving it at Centuries Clinic.
Centuries Clinic. So
Centuries
we'll just
Clinic.
list that here on the screen. You can find
Centuries
it.
Clinic in the NCD. You can go and ask for mental health help. So we're going to work on it in child and adolescent, alcohol, like detox and alcohol substance abuse, and a primary mental health care. That means you just come in and ask for help, and also disaster and management. So we are helping disaster, anything
like
to
a
do with
natural
stress
disaster?
like any like any kind of post-trauma,
Post-traumatic,
any
okay.
disaster in life, or domestic issues and post-traumatic stress disorders. Yeah.
So they can go
it's
straight
stress.
to Centuries Clinic.
Yes, and we have a mental health corner already created. We are working on the manpower right now, but we do have, you can always go there and ask for help, and you can enroll yourself, and then we start seeing them.
Fantastic.
Okay? Yeah.
So you'll have all this information here on the screen if you do need the help, or if you would like to refer someone on to receive this help. You are watching The Lewa Show. Hello and welcome back to the Lewa Show. We've just discussed a very heavy topic, depression. So I want to thank you both for your
Heavy?
time. It is heavy.
Oh my
I think it's
God.
heavy.
Heavy?
Is it heavy?
I guess.
You, these medical
Viewers,
professions,
just say
seriously.
not heavy, okay?
But there's light at the end of every tunnel.
Yes.
Yes. Before we go, any final words, ladies? You might as well start.
Okay. Well, viewers, I love to go out of this whole session by giving you hope, okay? Depression is treatable and manageable. And I will tell you, if you have any feeling hopeless, worthless, sad, unable to work out of it, and you're suffering for too long, ask help. You can go to any general hospitals, any part of the country, and you can go to the general practitioner and ask for referral, or go, if you're in Port Moresby, go to Centuries Clinic at the Hohola and ask for help. In the mental health corner, you will find mental health workers to help you. And I'm sure that will really give you a relief, and that heaviness will leave you, because you'll be really great after getting this help. Well, I love to tell you, put God first in your life. I think for me, spirituality is very important. And if you are with God, and everything is possible, so be at peace. Well, I have to tell something, Lewa.
Yes.
Our World Mental Health Day is coming.
Yes.
So viewers, there is a World Mental Health Day this year. Is preventing suicide.
Preventing suicide is the topic?
Yes.
Wow, and where is this?
And we are in the plans, but I'm sure that we will have other activities at the community and different places, and I'm sure you will look forward to
And when
be
is
part
that,
of
sorry?
it. And October 10th.
October the 10th.
World
Don't forget.
World
Mental Health
Day. Yes. So I thought I should take this
Thank you,
platform
yes.
to promote to good mental health and prevent harming yourself. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Ambi.
Yeah, thank you so much. What an honor to hear from you. Thank you very much for this session. I myself, it was just so good to review my little knowledge, what I learned about psychiatry during my 4 weeks, and then also to have this very meaningful discussion about it. I think I'd like to say the same thing that she said. Depression, mental health is everyone's business. It's my business, your business. And I think it's the only thing that we have so much power over, like protecting our mental health and our minds in everything we do. Thank you very much for this session. You can find me on Facebook, Miss PNG Air Services. I believe after this I'll be doing a lot of things with Dr. Ambi. So if you'd like to get involved, check me there so we can see what else we can do from this day onwards.
Can I just say congratulations as well on being Miss PNG Air Services.
Yeah.
She's a fantastic ambassador, and to have someone stand up for mental health too, right?
Definitely,
you need
definitely.
more warriors.
I am
Yes.
so excited to see
Yeah.
the young ones really supporting mental health and knowing that you're passionate about putting mind is a very important thing, because the mind is really powerful, and I think for our country, I think we have to change our attitude and move forward so we can empower the economy of the nation, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm so really excited to be associated with you.
Oh,
Thank you. I was really excited within myself, but I have to express it today.
Yes, and I commend you for all the work you do behind the scenes. Yes, I'd like to make a special mention to you, Dr. Ambi, and thank you for all the work you've done here in our beautiful country to keep our minds healthy. So,
Well, I know, Lewa, you're from the baby. You know,
I've got you on speed dial.
so I'm so beautiful to sit down right next to you. I know you as a baby from the day of your birth. So
No
for
embarrassing
me-
stories on camera.
So I'm really happy that today we are sitting together.
Thank you, ladies, so much for your time, for being on the show today and for discussing this topic. And I wish you both all the best. We will be working together, though. Don't forget to
Yes,
call me
definitely.
when there's something
Definitely.
going on. You are watching the Lewa Show. That has been another edition. We have talked about depression. If you'd like to know more, all the links will be displayed here on the screen. Do follow us on our Facebook page, also on Instagram and on YouTube, so you don't miss out. I'm your host, Lewa, and I'd like to make a special mention to our host venue today, the International Convention Centre here in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. Thank you for lending us this beautiful, beautiful venue right here in the nation's capital. It's been a pleasure having you all, and I will see you next time on The Lewa Show.